Hello, product people. Welcome to the Product for Product podcast, hosted by Matt Green, data advocate and product manager, and Moshe Mikanovsky, product leader and author. Our goal is to serve the product community by helping you find products that can help make your work in product management easier. Thanks for joining us on another episode of the Product for Product podcast.
Welcome back, everyone. On today's episode, Moshe and I are happy to be switching it up a bit. Today we'll be discussing some work that Moshe has done in the past around the Product Management Toolkit. And so excited to talk to you today about that, Moshe.
Yes. Hey, Matt, how are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful.
That
Having a
is
great day so
changing
far.
it. Yeah, that is changing it a bit because we usually have guests talking about, what
Absolutely.
they're using and their frameworks or things they built. And we build stuff ourselves as well. So we're like, why
Yep.
not sharing it too?
100%. 100%. Yeah, you and I always talk and might as well share it with other people. So excited to share our learnings.
Exactly, exactly. So what we're going to share today is this toolkit that I built. I started building it because of everything we learned in the podcast. So a
Hmm.
lot of the insights and a lot of the things in there are directly from talking with people on the podcast and really getting to understand what's important to people. And we realized over the years that not everyone are the same. Well, I
Right.
think we knew that, but
Yep.
also also when picking products and tools for their processes, we realized that there are different reasons why some products work better for some type of organizations, etc.
Hmm.
Even between the two of us, you know how we
Yeah.
sometimes have different approaches, and it's very true for everyone. So
Yeah.
that's really what I think is in the core of this toolkit. Um,
Totally.
and then I was trying to get it into more of an organization, so something really organized that will give step by step by step. So it's quite elaborate. There is a lot of steps in it, but
Hmm.
when I go over it, you will see that I try to simplify it on one hand. So
Hmm.
every step is very contained in its own reasoning and etc. And I also try to apply as much as possible what we usually do as product people. So
Hmm.
whether it is discovery or prioritization, things that we do anyway for our products. So why not do it also when we choose the products that we want to use?
Yep. 100%.
Mhm. So to do that, we wanted to share the screen here. We are hoping this is going to work on video, and then we can also do a video episode. Um, so let me just start with that. One second. I am going to share my desktop over here. Here we go. And tell me that you see it.
Yep.
Perfect. Um, So what I'm starting here actually is from my website, Products for Good. This is my company, by the way. If people didn't know, I don't mention it too much on the podcast. The reason I'm starting over here is because I do have my resources available on my website. So if you go to productsforgood.co, you will see in resources frameworks. And over here, you will see that framework as the Product Manager Toolkit. So I do have others, and we can talk about it in other episodes. But
Hmm.
the Product Manager Toolkit, that's the one that I'm referring to. And I created in Miroverse a canvas that you can just use it as a template. So this is really very helpful for everyone. They don't need the link from me. All they do, they go to this Miroverse canvas. Whoop. And I'm just trying to zoom in to the entire canvas so you see a full picture over here. But in general, it's all here. And you see I published it and it's explained what it is. And you can just use a template and then it will copy it to your Miro. So you can
That's
start
great.
yeah, you can start from scratch over there. Very useful. If you like it, I would love if people just click this red heart and add more hearts. You see, 12 people already like it. I know more people used
Let's
it.
see those numbers go up. Yep.
Yeah, you see, almost 1,000 people have seen it and 44 people copied it. So
Yep.
after you copy it, you probably don't come back here
The
to like
copies
it.
is a good indicator of
Yeah,
people
yeah,
really liking it. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I've shared it in a few places already.
Hmm.
I also included in it a Loom video explaining how to use it a bit. It's a 4 minutes video, so you can watch it here. Or once you copy it over, it will already be inside. So the first thing you see there is a start here, and that's the same video. So you can start right there. Okay. So let me go now to the Miro board, my Miro board. There is no need for me to copy it. I already have that, the original. And like I said, you can start here. It will explain, um, the process here. But what I want to show you is that I start with a process. So there is a process here on the top, this little workflow, and then each one of those has the steps, to go and choose your tools. So you see, it's quite elaborate. There is a lot of stuff over
Hmm.
here. If I try to simplify it a bit, then it starts with identifying a problem, like anything else that we do in product. We're identifying a real problem that we're trying to solve. And the real problem we're trying to solve here is what is the needs of the product manager or, the product team related to product, right? So before we even choose a tool, I want to understand all of the needs that I have as a product person. This is something that I have here an image that I used in different workshop that I give. Starting from the lean methods of building, learn, build, and measure, and from that, all the different things that we do in product management.
Hmm.
Now, after that, so let me go through the high level workflow before I dive into the details. So after that, I have prioritized. So I have all the needs, and now which need is higher than other needs? So which problem is more acute and I need to solve faster? Then I shortlist for the available product out there. So what is available for every different need that I have? After I shortlist, I start comparing products, and I have a lot of selection criteria over here, how to compare different products to each other and what is important to look at. Then I do test. So I'm testing let's say, couple of products, two, three maximum. I don't think that you need to test more than that. Um, but usually when you compare, you will see which ones are better fit for you even before you tested it. But it's really important to test the products before you start committing to them, because it's much harder later on to get off a product if you didn't test it.
Hmm.
And then an implementation is important as well because we know in B2B, not every product that we choose is implemented properly or is successfully accepted by the team that needs to use it. So implementation is also important part of that. So that's the high level process. And then in each one of those steps, I have more resources for everyone how to do that. So as I said, identify the problems. Okay, so we know there is a lot of things that we need to do, like prototyping and wireframing
Yep.
and vision and strategy and a lot of stuff, right? We talk about it all the
This
time.
is a great visual. Yeah.
Yeah, we talk a lot about it in our podcast, right?
Yep.
Then, in order to prioritize it, you can have different methods of prioritization. What I used over here, and this is I'm using one of the other framework that I showed on my website that I also have a Miroverse board for, which is this ecosystem diagram. And what I've done is I developed a diagram of what is my job as a product manager or the job of in general. It's not just for me. It's like for all product managers, the way I see it, right? So, people might tweak it or modify it a bit. But here, it starts from ideation, discovery, strategy, prioritization, development of the product, launching and going to market and then monitoring and it goes back. It's a cycle thing, but it shows here linear,
Hmm.
even though it is cycle. And then there is like a user journey of all the things that needs to happen over here. And then there is a technical component, which is what are the things that we're using or building or whatever it is to solve this specific need. So if we
Hmm.
need to ideate, what do we use over here? I usually like to call it a parking lot. And if I need a parking lot, so which tool I'm using for my parking lot?
Right.
When I need to discover, I'm doing a research, I get client input, I have some analytics from my product. I have, maybe session recordings to record my sessions and based on that do discovery. So there is a lot of different things. And again, what is it that I'm using for each one of those things?
Yeah, and
Um,
I think it's good to keep in mind also the interconnectivity of different applications. And so, like if you think of Atlassian, you have
mhm.
Jira and product discovery. So uh, some of these have
Absolutely.
interdependencies upon each other.
Absolutely, and it doesn't mean that each one of those components is built by its own product. It could be
Hmm.
one product that does everything.
Yeah.
And we have talked about products in the past that are aspiring to do that.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
do they really do that? That's a good question. But now that
Hmm.
I have a full picture here in front of me, showing me that these are all my needs, I can say, okay, this component and this component and this component I can do with product X. Now, what about other components in the middle, or which product am I going to use for that? Because this product
Hmm.
X doesn't really do that. So I need another product. Now, is it really important for me to do right now? I can decide, what is a priority over there. Now you see on the bottom over here, there are um, more of a back-end products like communication. We talk a lot about communication and async communication and sync communication and stuff like that. This is really across the entire workflow. It's not just for a specific one.
Hmm.
And here I also put automation, automating
Yep.
between uh, different steps here.
Cross it. Yep. Cross these
So
applications.
the idea here is really to understand the product manager journey, and then to understand within this journey what are the different things that I might need to put in place in order for to have a solution. And
Hmm.
then I can prioritize it. So this is just a template, and then this is an example where I say over here, priorities wise, you see, I put these green light, like traffic lights on them.
Hmm.
So all the green lights are things that are higher priority. I need to do them right now. But the yellow ones are things that it's maybe next. So it's a bit now, next, and later. So it's a bit of a roadmap for myself. What is more important right now? And I even have here like red ones like user testing. But this is just me. I mean, I'm not saying
Yeah.
for anyone adopt this specific one. This is just examples. Everyone can use it any way they want, or you can create your own, right? Now, I also put here a few items for what impacts your decision making in your prioritization. So things like, and these are questions to ask ourselves, and then everyone using this can answer this question and say, okay, so because we are of a specific organization size, or organization maturity, or culture,
Hmm.
or a budget, I will have different answers for some or different priorities, right? So there is definitely all of these things will impact, and we've seen it throughout the 4+ years we do in the
Yeah.
podcast, how different people coming from different, all of these different size of organization, maturity, culture, budget, etc. Right?
Completely. Yeah. As you transition throughout your career as a PM, you're going to come into organizations that already have tools or that
Hmm.
don't have tools. And
Hmm.
so, that's where it comes into like knowing the budget. What can you spend? And then what do we already have and where do we need to improve? So, um,
This is an interesting one, budget, because it's not just about what is our current budget, but it's also about as we grow,
mhm,
can we grow the budget with it, or is there the affinity in the organization? Do the organization even understand that budget or growing our tools over time might mean we will need to put more budget into it in future
right.
years or whatever it is? And if we need it right now, how flexible is it to change the budget towards that? Et cetera, et cetera. So there is a lot of questions there that can be raised. And I try to put, some questions here so you can start thinking about that. So this is about priorities. So once you prioritize things, then you can shortlist. Now, in the shortlist, what I did, I should probably update this because this is an image we created together a while
Hmm.
ago with all the different products that we had on the podcast and
Yeah.
were associated with those needs of a product manager. But since then, we had quite a bit of additional products, especially AI.
Yeah.
So it was hard to put all of this here together, but I think that it's time to update this. And but I also collect, I have an Airtable. Let me see if I open this up, if this will open. Um, I'm not sure if, yeah, it will open over here, but it should open also in a separate view. But I collected over times different products in different categories, and you can open it separately outside of Miro, but it's nice Miro actually open it within here. And it has, the website and even link to our podcast that we talked about
Hmm.
it.
Yep.
But the idea here is that if you're looking for a specific category, you will be able to sort this out and say, okay, this is what these are the short list options that exist. Um, I realize that this is, could be stale sometime. Maybe some of these products don't exist anymore. They've been acquired by others, whatever it is. I have here on the list 150 something. There are way more products than this. So this is a matter of really updating the list on an ongoing basis, which I don't do a
Hmm.
good job at. But if people do see new products or they look into this list and they found something wrong here, please do connect with me and let me know. I'm always happy to update this.
I think that
Uh,
visual is great because it reflects what our mission from day one has been is this is a complex space with all these different tools. And
mhm.
to see that visually laid out really represents like how complex all this can be.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
for PMs to have to work through.
Absolutely, absolutely. Then we compare, and I think the usually people will start with almost with this. They will start to comparing products. And when I did it in the past, I've done before we started the podcast, I've done a lot of acquisitions of products for me to use. And you compare the main thing you compare usually is features and cost, right?
Hmm. Yep.
Now, feature and cost are here. So you see here there is price, and you see there is somewhere here on the bottom. I put it all the way in the bottom, features comparison,
Hmm.
because I do think it's important, but I think there is many other things that are even more important and most people don't pay attention to.
Right.
And all of those things we learn in the podcast. So I'm very grateful for our podcast and all of our guests
Yes.
that we did that. And the way it's structured is that I have the criteria, what is it, how to, and then what is our preference. So this is where the users of this toolkit said, okay, what is it for us? And then a few products that they compare, and they can say, okay, this product specifically, well, how do they do it, right? So
Yep.
and the criteria that I have here is, for example, first of all, must have versus nice to have. Okay, this is a bit related to the prioritization, right? And this is where it will go into now, next, or later. And you see there is no comparison over here between the product because this is more about the problem. Now, after that, I'm talking about things like deep versus wide. So is this product going deep on one problem? Like, um, oh, no, I don't have the name in my head. The product for the wireframing with a smiley face. What is called?
Oh, click.
No, I can't have the name right now in my head. But this product only does wireframing and does wireframing very, very well, and they don't solve other problems because that's the one problem that they want to solve, right?
Hmm.
Versus a wide one, products that will try to solve many, many different problems in one product, right? And many times they are solving those problems, but they're not solving them very deeply. But this is a preference. I actually prefer wide versus deep, because I prefer
Yeah,
to buy one product that is very well integrated. But
right.
many companies prefer, or many people prefer, getting the best in the best for each problem and then try to put them together, right? Entry level versus advanced. So, we talked a lot about product analytics and how Google Analytics is not the right product analytics tool for products.
Hmm. Yep.
Because a lot of people, when they start using something, they start with Google Analytics.
Easy entry. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's entry level versus advanced one that will give you much more than what you can get with that. And so on. So the criteria that I have over here is no versus ongoing engineering required. So do I do everything? Do I need engineering all the time to help me with that? They have to be involved, or there is no engineering involved. They do a one-time integration, and then that's it. Open-ended versus deterministic. So it tells me how to work versus it's very dynamic and I can make workflows. I can choose how I work with it. The price, integration with other products. So how it
Hmm.
integrates with other products, how well it is, how many products it integrate with, etc. Customer support and success. So this is about them and their company behind it, and not just about the product itself and how well they give you support and support you in the product, how well it is integrated within their product or not, how fast they're actually responding to you, who is responding, is it personalized, all of that stuff. Your user experience in the product, um, the AI support. And you see, I put it only as one item over here, even though today
Hmm.
it's almost like, the first thing people will look at, is it AI?
Yeah.
But
Everywhere.
it's not important for every, or it's not as important for every product that we're doing over there.
Hmm.
Product led. This is also about the company itself. Is the company behind it? Are they product led, or are they sales led, or tech led, or whatever it is? Because it might align or not align with how we like product companies to be, and how we
Hmm.
like to be as product people, right?
Yep.
So I think that's important to understand as well. Security, security is always really important. So how well they handle security and what is their security mechanisms, and also um, their company stance on security, etc. And then, of course, features comparison,
Hmm.
right? So this is about the comparing the product. Now, after that, there is a test. So inside the test, I also created a small process over here. So the process of testing is defining what is the test cases, define the success criteria. So what does it mean for you to be successful in your tests? And then test at least two products so you can actually compare them. Contact support. So always make sure you contact support in your test. Even if everything goes well, try to find ways to contact support because you will understand how their support work. Compare performance between them and then make a decision, right? And I put a template here for test cases, and also for questions to their support and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But it's really more about the process. And I've done that quite a few times to compare different products and test them. In order to do that, you also need to have a way to, not every product is easy to test without a lot of investment.
Right.
So that might be also a criteria in the decision there to see, how well can you test it
Hmm.
without making a decision upfront, right?
Right. Sometimes you
So
have to get into a POC as well, with
yeah,
the vendor.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, also, do you need to pay for it or not?
Right.
How long would it take? What does it mean also, to integrate it into your product? So there is a lot of decisions that you will have to make in that.
Hmm.
And then the last thing is implementation. And here I also put a little process where you define your scenarios to implement, you prioritize them. So you probably cannot implement everything at once. So you kind of stage it. You implement those scenarios. You communicate everything. So communication is really important. Um, you train the users and then you monitor how it goes. Now it and then go back, to add more scenarios and stuff like that. This is
Hmm.
this is again, it's easy to do linearly. Although some of those things could be done, like the communication probably should be done all the time,
Hmm.
and stuff like that. And some of those things you might be able to do in parallel, etc. But I just wanted to create something simple here to give people an idea of where to start with some scenarios, how to implement, like with a template over here for scenarios to implement, etc. So this is the overall toolkit, and I hope it's helpful for people.
Yeah, one of the things, you know, in selecting products that, in my experience as a PM, even doing professional, personal side projects and stuff like that, the selection criteria is one of the most critical things outside of identifying what problem you're solving. So making sure you're actually picking the right thing to solve the problem. But
Hmm.
going through the selection criteria is so important because, I like you to typically take a wide approach. I would like a
Hmm.
product that does a bunch of different things, but making sure it does those things well. And then
Hmm.
obviously like demonstrating the value. Sometimes I find that like finding those products that do a bunch of different things, demonstrating the value to leadership that ultimately justifies the cost of it, I think is
Hmm.
important as well. And the
Yep.
long-term cost of it, like you mentioned, the growth of it.
Yep.
Hey, we need to scale up a Pendo, add more to it. It's going to cost us X amount more.
Hmm.
As long as you're demonstrating the value that, hey, we selected this is why we selected it, but we actually need to expand on it.
Yeah.
I think long-term growth and thinking, how this is going to like benefit your organization long term is critical.
Absolutely, absolutely. Sometimes you want to know if the vendor decide to raise prices over time and
Absolutely, yeah.
you don't know about it, it might happen. And that's where you want to see upfront, first of all, what is their promise about the prices?
Hmm.
And because some of them will promise, same price forever or something like that. Usually it's very early stage when they're trying to
Right.
attract a lot of users. Another thing is also to see what would it mean to you if you will need to switch to another product.
Yep. That
How easy or hard it's going to be, right?
100%. Yeah. How easy is it to get out of it if
Hmm.
after a year or so that it's not working, you want to switch up?
Hmm.
Another key point is bias. We all have used tools prior, and so when you get to a new organization, you want to implement something, but just be mindful of the culture at your organization. Like
Hmm.
you might have, a certain preference for a certain tool. I know Michelle and I like Pendo, but like do the research. Look at other competitors and look at other people in the market because they may not all fit for your organization or your use cases.
Hmm.
So just be mindful of that. Don't just go in the direction you're most comfortable with. Um,
Exactly.
but
And that's
it is a key
exactly
thing.
that's
Yep.
exactly that's why there are so many criteria over here
Yeah.
that really can make or break, some of the decisions you are making in the
Hmm.
long.
That's why I thought that was so important. And you can get into analysis paralysis, and that's hopefully what we've tried to help with this podcast. By
Hmm.
having people on to talk about the pros and cons of the using these tools, because
Right.
you can really go down a rabbit hole when it comes to all the different things and all the
Yeah.
different comparisons with these,
Yeah.
and then you wind up with something that isn't actually what you wanted
Yeah.
long term. So,
Maybe this
um,
is an idea for another episode or sets of episodes where we bring
yeah.
two users of two different products that solve the same problem to do a bit of session between them to see why should you choose this one versus then the other
There we
one.
go. Competition show. That'd be good. I like that.
Yeah, or debates.
Debate show. That would be good. Yeah, I think that that's a key thing to think about. And as PMs in our day jobs, if you even go back to like the first chart that we talked about, all the different things we're thinking about and have to think about, making sure you have the right tool that ultimately makes your life easier and the team's life easier and
Hmm.
delivers the results you're looking for is critical.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Now, before we end, let me ask you a question because I'm kind of toying in my head writing a book about this to put this into a book.
Hmm.
We talked about maybe writing a book in the past,
Yep.
but the problem with tools is that they are getting stale.
Right.
There are many tools that coming up. Some tools are changing a lot over time and stuff like that. So it's hard to write about specific tools. But writing it from this perspective of having a toolkit on how to choose your tools, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I like it. It's a great idea because I don't think the problems change. The
Hmm.
tools change, the different features they have. We've seen product analytics tools like expand new things, and so since our first round of
Yeah.
episodes we
Yeah.
had.
Yeah.
But I don't think the problems change. You're still trying to solve the same things as product teams and product managers.
Hmm.
So I think if you do a book in terms of taking that direction, and that way have preferences around like tools will change, but the problems themselves that you're trying to solve don't.
Right, right. So maybe I will put it also as a question here to the podcast
Yeah,
listeners. What do they think about a book and whether they think it's a good idea? If you do, dear listeners, please let me know and even put your name out there for the waiting list to read the first draft.
yeah, that'd be exciting
It
to
will
have
be a
a.
challenge that you will put on me to do.
That's right. Add a little pressure to you.
Yeah, exactly. Amazing. Good.
Well, great. Yeah, great. This is great. I really like this format. Hopefully other people do as well. I thought Moshe and I, we were having these conversations like I mentioned, and I think it's great to get these out to the audience and to the listeners, and I hope everybody enjoyed it today.
Thank you very much, Matt, for hosting me on the show.
Yeah,
It's been great to be a guest here. Um,
great to have you. It's great to have you as a guest and host. So always enjoy it.
Amazing.
Awesome. Well, thank you to all the listeners. Thank you, Moshe, and we'll talk to everybody next time.
Thank
Take
you very
care.
much, everyone.
Bye-bye.